Hello everyone and welcome to Tech with Robert. Get started with T-SQL course. Today we're going to talk about the select statement, the most fundamental statement in any SQL syntax. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up on the video if you like what I do. That really helps me to know what I do well and what you guys want me to improve or focus more on in the future lectures. So without further ado, let's dive right into the SQL Server Management Studio. So here we can see that we are going to right click on the database here and so press on new query. And as we see here, it says AdventureWorks Data Warehouse 2017, which means that every query we run here will be queried against that database. So if we expand the database here, and we can see here that we have database diagrams, tables, view, programmability. And we're going to cover most of these in upcoming lectures, but today we're going to focus about tables. So every database has one or more tables, and we can see here that we have a table here called dim customer. So to select something, so retrieve data from a table, like every time we're going to retrieve data from a database, you're always going to start with writing select. Select means that we're going to select one or more or all fields from a specific table. So if we expand this table here, we see that we have columns. So if we expand this folder here, we see that these are all the columns, the fields that we have in the customer table. So for example, if we would like to select the customer key, we would simply write select customer key. And then we need to specify what table do we want to select the customer key from. So that is the other keyword here, that is from. So now we say select customer key from, and then we have to specify the table. So in this case, from dim customer. And we can run this query by clicking here on execute, or we can do the shortcut and press on F5. And here we see the results. So we see a list here with all the unique customer keys from the customer table. And if we look down here, we see that the query was executed successfully. The server and the server that we are querying from and what database we are querying. And here we see how many rows it returned, the query returned. And we can also see this number here. If we go to messages, we see that 18,484 rows were affected, and the completion time here. And so this is all good. We see a list of all the customers, from all the customer keys here. But what if we want to add more fields? What if we also want to select the first name, for example? We would separate it with a comma, and then we press enter and go down, and then we can write first name, and we can also write last name, for example. And if we run that, we see we still get the same amount of rows, but now we display the customer key, the first name, and the last name. We have a lot of fields here, so what if we want to select everything from the table? Do we have to sit here and we need to do, okay, then we have middle name, or we have name style, we have birth date, marital status, for example. Or is there another way how we can retrieve everything from a table? Fortunately, there is. And the way we do that is simply use the asterisk. This means everything. So if we would go here and let me just delete these, we can have it like that. So let's say that we would write, we would like everything from the customer table. We could do select star from dim customer, like this. So now if we run this, we see here that we get all of the fields from the customer table. And there are two ways how you can choose what fields you want to select. The first way is the preferred way, which I recommend you to do. If you're new with the writing or SQL statements, I think it's very good. It's very good to practice, writing it by hand. But there is another way how you can do it. So the first way is, as I showed you, for example, we go here and we say we want the customer key, we want first name and a last name from dim customer. Right, this is the first way. The second way is if we go here and we do select, and then we can target this, we can click on the column here and we can drag it where we want it here, and it will display the field here in the editor. And notice here these brackets that SQL Server applied to the field. This is, you can write it either with these or without these, as I've done up here. So the customer key with the brackets or the customer key without is going to give you the exact same results. The reason why you sometimes need to use these brackets is, let's say for example that you would have a field that would be, for example, this, or for example if the field was named customer, customer key, like this. This will throw an error because you see here key is highlighted in blue. This is a reserved keyword, so SQL Server doesn't know that this should be treated as a column. But if you put these brackets here around that, SQL Server would know that, okay, this is a column, so this lets you have spaces in the column. So you could, for example, let's say that we had a field called this is the customer key. You could have a column that's named like this, but in order to select it, you would need to use the brackets here around it. So guys, that was it for this tutorial. In the next lecture, we are going to look a little bit more about, selecting fields and applying some basic filtering to the queries. So I will see you guys in the next lecture. Bye bye.